Welcome to the Whitetail Woods. We're going somewhere today that you haven't been, but you're going to enjoy this because you're going to learn something. I've got two helpers with me today, right here, and they're volunteered. So here's what we're going to be learning, that this nose may be the most amazing nose on the planet. Here's how it works. Of course, air comes in here and here. They like to keep their nose wet. You see them licking it oftentimes. But the real magic happens between here and here, right above their eye. That little area about 6 inches long right here. So I've taken this whitetail and prepped her for a little look inside. What I've done is I've taken and cut her nose so that we can actually lift this up and get a look inside of her nose. Here we go. Now, it looks confusing at first, but I'm going to explain this to you. Here's what's going on. These are the nostrils right here, this and here, and the air is drawn in. As it's drawn in, there's a maze of little chambers all through this whitetail's nose where they have these receptor cells that are going to be picking up little fractional pieces of odor. Now, when you look in here, you can see how it opens up on both sides. This is always moist, and you only go in a little ways, and you're running into these unique structures that are inside of a deer's nose. You see they're hooked on up here. This is actually nervous tissue where they're transferring data. But watch how this is. Look. This is actually a folded up, look at this. It's a folded up piece of nasal tissue that covers a lot of space. Look at that. It's always moist, it's rich in receptor cells, but it's all folded up. Look how it folds back in there. These olfactory receptors are floating in here, and there's actually two on each side, one here and there's one behind. And then the magic, though, it really occurs down here because the air moves in and then it moves up underneath these cartilages, and this is all honeycombed. And this is the olfactory recess. And this area back here is, if you were to lay it out, it would cover a tremendous area and is all rich in receptor cells. And as a matter of fact, it starts, here it is here, it starts here and it goes all the way back to about here where the animal's, where the whitetail's brain is. So the air comes in here. You can see there's high and low. See these same receptor bodies are on the bottom here? But then it comes in, then it moves through these fine airways, and it is able to pick up incredibly small amounts of scent. You ever see whitetails doing this when they're out there and you're thinking it's during the rut? That's because they're lip curling. That's called flaming. And what they're doing is they're bringing in scent specifically through something called the Jacobson organ. Let me show you where it is. It goes into the nose. It's right here in the roof of a whitetail's mouth, the vomeronasal openings. And this is how they bring scent into their nose. Now let's just follow it straight through to the other side. On this side, you know, that happens right down here and right down here. That's where that, and there's special receptor cells here that actually are specifically designed for that use. They can actually bring air into this nostril and this nostril, and it's only that far apart, but they can differentiate how strong the odor is, and that helps them stay on the trail by the strength of the odor coming in nostrils that are only that far apart. Okay, here's what goes on. Particles dissolved or held in the air, odor particles, are moving through the air. The deer brings them in, and they go into a series of voids, a series of openings all the way up through here. And as the particles are moving around, there's tremendous surface area there. The deer identifies them and sends the story to the brain, and now he knows what he's smelling. So here's an interesting illustration for you that'll help you understand how amazing that nose is. A bloodhound and a whitetail have about the same amount of receptors, scent receptors in their nose, and it's about 300,000. So we know that a bloodhound can detect as little as 2 parts per billion of a scent and clearly detect it. That's a big number, but let me put that in terms of something you can imagine. Imagine 55-gallon drums filled with apples. Okay, there's about 700 or 800 apples in each one. And we take those drums and we get a lot of them. As a matter of fact, we pile them up so they can reach the moon 5 times. And then we put 1 rotten apple in one of the drums. A whitetail could pick it up. How about that? So how do you combat something this amazing, a nose that's almost magical? Well, really what you can do is you can wear scent suppression clothing, and you can also take care of your body by using Sport Wash hair and body soap and remove all the residue and smelly odor from your body. You can also take and wash your clothes in Sport Wash and rinse out all the residue and all the odors. You can then take no odor spray and spray your body down. And now you're going to be about as scent-free as you could possibly be. And then the other trick that'll work every time, always be downwind. They're pretty smart. This is what happens when a whitetail deer smells you. That's this week in the Whitetail Woods.